What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 59 on my road to 700 pounds on bench press. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I am going to try to catch up on all my recaps. Like I said, the last couple of recaps, I've been trying to play a little catch up, trying to catch up with life. But if you guys are just now tuning in, definitely check out some of my older recaps. Follow me on my journey and road to 700 pounds on a raw bench press. The goal is definitely to do that this next bench only training cycle. And if you guys are brand new to the channel, definitely subscribe and get used to me giving you some weekly recaps and on how my training goes, kind of how I feel. Definitely a kind of a how-to guide. Definitely do some Q&As coming up, so stay tuned. But this week, getting back into some little bit heavier, definitely feeling a lot better. The reps and the sets are not super heavy by any means. We're kind of in a, I don't want to say hypertrophy phase because we're not super high reps, but we're definitely, we've backed it down, and you will see here that the reps are starting to look a lot cleaner, cleaning up my technique a little bit. I like to do that when the weights are definitely lighter. Don't like to tweak technique too much when it's heavier because it's definitely harder on the joints and tendons and ligaments. And especially like when you're getting close to like a competition, you don't want to change things up. But let's go ahead and dive into this week's weekly recap video. So my day one, always typically my heavy bench and upper accessory day over here at Dubs Barbell Club in Spring, Texas. It's we've got 315 on the bar here, working up to a set of 8 with, let's see, I believe we have 425 on the bar today. So showing you my last, one of my last warm-up sets. Feeling very explosive. Reset here. This is one of my last warm-up sets. If you guys are just now new to the channel, you know that I like to do my 315 where it's typically one rep, kind of a paused rep, and then I re-rack it. I don't really reset much because my back doesn't loosen up or anything, but I go and do 3 reps real quick, and it's just kind of to fire off the CNS, get things going. Let's see here. We got a 405 warm-up here. Solid pause. Get a lift off from here from Justin Dubs. Top set here is 425 for a set of 8, and then after this we're going to go for another set. Really working on just pausing and really exploding up each rep and not getting much rest at the top. Because when it comes to 8 reps, no matter what the weight is, it's a lot of cardio. So that set went off just fine. Wanted to go ahead and add a couple reps here, and we're going for 425 here. On this set, it's not terribly heavy at all, but like I said in the beginning of the video, we are back down a little bit. This is 200 pounds less than what I've been able to do in the gym, or more, actually about 250 pounds less, but we're building a base here. Really start, I'm exploding with that weight so much that I'm actually losing a little bit of tightness, so I'm having to kind of reset. That's the problem with reps, is no matter how good you are, how good your technique is, how dialed in you are, it is very, very tough to keep perfect form on the subsequent reps after that first one, because especially if you're like me and you're very explosive with the reps, you're going to get out of position slightly each rep. So the last one is a little bit more of a muscle rep than technique. So working on some close grip presses here, 375 for 6. This called actually for a decline press, but this gym doesn't have a decline, so really it's just a matter of getting some extra volume in. And it's light enough, it's not bothering me too much to do it with a flat bench. Got some crucifix lat pull downs here. Some great lat exercise, a little bit of a variant of lat pull downs, and doing this separate 110 on each hand, so 105 or so on the plates, plus an extra plate there. Really working on squeezing and getting a good squeeze there. Range of motion is limited a little bit just because my lats are in the way, so it's really hard to get those elbows really close to the body. You want to get them as close as possible, but obviously if your anatomy's in the way, you can't really fight that. Did a few sets of that, and got some flies here, pause floor flies, 55s for a few sets of 15. Really working on engaging that pec, pausing just under, or I'm sorry, just above the floor. I don't want to rest my elbows or my arms on the floor at all. I want to stay engaged the whole time. This really does cause these to start putting a little burn into the pec closer to the end of the set, which is exactly what I want. Wearing my elbow sleeves here just to keep the tendonitis away. That's something that I'm definitely, was battling with, not so much anymore. My elbows feel a lot better now that we've backed down the weight. Just something that I need to go through, and typically that's the case. When you get tendonitis, you need to back it off. So I got kind of a bunch of sets here, sets of 8 with 130 pounds on overhead rope. This is a tricep exercise, really working on getting those triceps firing. Typically by the maybe the 6th or 7th set, I really start feeling these. This is not a lot of weight. Once again, some of this is just kind of going through the motions, keeping some blood in the muscle and letting my body rest. We haven't really ramped up training yet. So 425 for a set of 8, set of 10 is still 75 pounds less for a set of 10 that my best set of 10 is with 500 or so. Moving on, day 2, showing you my squats, my deadlifts combined in one day with some lower body accessories. I'm just going to show you guys kind of the top couple sets here, just because this is a bench only cycle. I don't want to dive too much into the squat deadlift training. I am still keeping legs in the mix just to keep my whole body super strong. I am looking to do animal cage in March, which is at the Arnold in Columbus. And I want to do a squat bench deadlift AMRAP. So I want my squats to be sitting around the 700 range, deadlifts around 800, and of course bench I want to do 600 for reps. Working on here, 495 here, a couple reps just to kind of warm things up. $585 on the bar, still kind of warming things up. If you haven't noticed, got the red Cerakote Texas Power Bar. It's Cerakoted with that red color. It can be just about any color you want. I think they're selling just a few of them right now, but definitely something to look into if you want kind of a custom look on your bar. It functions exactly like the Texas Power Bar. I think they actually may put a little bit more knurling on it so that the Cerakote doesn't cover up the natural knurling that's normally on the bar. But I have no problems with grip whatsoever. It's really nice, and I like a little bit of flex in the bar. Of course, when you start putting 600 pounds or so on a bar, I don't care what bar it is, it's going to flex just a little bit, and you want it to, but not too whippy. That's a little bit whippy just because of the way I forced it up. 635 here. Just wanted to wake the legs up a little bit. This is not my top set, but this is just kind of almost like an over warm-up set, if you will. If you notice, I got this custom shirt here. You probably won't be able to see the front, but it says Strickland on the back. It's a custom Mark Bell slingshot shirt that they got for me at Boss of Bosses. I really appreciate that. All right, so this is going to be the top set today, 600 for 5. So the 635 was just to fill some weight. This is going to be about 10 pounds less than my current 5 rep PR on squat, at 615. So 600 for 5, still getting some decent depth there and controlling the bar. This is still very much cardio for me, so definitely focusing on each rep. I'm not looking to just bang them out real fast. It's enough weight there that I don't want to be, I still want to be cautious. But overall, recovery is doing well, sleeping well, stress levels down. The weight is back down to weights that are manageable for a longer period of time and building up some strength. So, once again, want to stress that, if you're at a point in your training where you think you're kind of hitting a plateau, especially if you're going super heavy every week, it's probably time to at least look at backing down, even for a few weeks. It doesn't have to be something where you stop going to the gym or anything, but just backing down a little bit. Your body will thank you, and you'll come back stronger. Yeah, here we go. Here's the front of the shirt that they gave me. It's strong on the front and Strickland on the back. Custom shirt they gave to all their athletes at Boss of Bosses. Little warm-up set here, double overhand grip, 585. Lost it a little bit at the top, but strapped up. Still wanted to get plenty of warm for this particular set that I want to hit up. So hit a double there with straps. And we're going to go for 675 here. Quick set of 2. Even though this, obviously looks fairly heavy, it's not super heavy for me. This is probably about 85–90% effort that I'm putting in, especially for a double. Breaking it off the ground, a little bit tough, especially for the first rep. I haven't been this heavy in a while, so it's a little bit of a shock. And obviously you'll see the second rep moves a lot smoother. Done with deadlifts on that. So I want to show you guys a new accessory that I've been kind of implementing the last few weeks with my coach. And this is basically a bent over row or a pendulé row, not quite as strict as a pendulé row. We did 425 last week, and the week before that was 405. So this week is going to be 455. This is the top set. I've done a few sets before this with a little bit lighter weight working up to this. So I don't want you to ever think that I went straight from deadlifts to 455 row. Definitely want to warm that back up a little bit. I normally go through 225 for just a couple reps, then 315. Then my working set started about 370 for 5 and work up here to this last set here at 455. Actually had several sets of 405, 425, and then this 455. But this is definitely a PR attempt for me here, so I want to get in the zone. Don't want to take it lightly. You see here that I'm officially sponsored by Skittles, but I would definitely welcome the sponsorship from these guys if they want to send some Skittles over. I eat enough of them as it is. Maybe we can work on a half deal. Really getting some good range of motion there. A little bit of body English just to make sure that the barbell is moving. I'm not trying to tax the hamstrings a lot there. Day 3, last day of the week. My shoulders and upper accessories, fairly light here still with 150, set of 15, a few sets here, working on the rear delts. Really getting a good squeeze back there. This is not quite any kind of weight that's going to light me up just yet. I've done in excess of 300 on this, so this is about half of what I'm capable of for a set of 10 or so. Moving on to some side raises with the cable. Definitely a great shoulder exercise. This is just 30 pounds, but a few sets of 15 will get those shoulders nice and warm, especially for the bench sets here coming up, even though they're not super heavy. Huge advocate for making sure you warm up properly, regardless of what you have on the agenda. Cold muscles tend to tear, and just like cold bubble gum or cold taffy, try to pull it apart, it snaps. But if you pull apart warm taffy or warm bubble gum, it'll stretch forever pretty much. So that's kind of how your muscles operate. Fairly happy with the physique here. I'm not, a huge physique guy. I do care about what I look like, so I'm definitely happy that, as I'm eating more and recovering and being a little bit, I guess, lazy, if you will, I'm not really losing anything. Definitely think I'm still keeping a little bit of a lean physique, so I'm happy with that. Working on 125s here for a set of 15. Took the elbow sleeves off for this. I normally would wear them. Just wanted to kind of give my elbows some room to breathe. I don't want to flare up any tendonitis, but this is a light enough weight. It's not super taxing. The benefit to risk ratio was well enough for me to take a gamble with. Moving on to some T3 raises, good shoulder rehab and prehab exercise. I think this was just the 10 pounds or the 12 pounds. Nothing crazy, just enough to get the shoulders warm. A few sets of this. Definitely gives you a little bit of a burn in the shoulders, but nothing super crazy. I'm sure we could do a lot more weight on this, but the point of this exercise is not to kill your shoulders. Some straight arm, fully extended dumbbell pullovers, 55 pounds here. Just working on getting that lower stretch. Looking at the form here, I probably could have straightened the arms just a little bit more just to be perfect form, but this is not an end all. This is definitely kind of more of a rehab exercise. I was bending a little bit at the elbows more than I'd like, but Sometimes a little bit of tightness, a little bit of elbow tightness or tendonitis can sometimes flare up. I'm not sure exactly what was going through my head this particular day. May have just been a little bit lazy here, if I'm being honest. All right, moving on to some seal rows, 340 pounds, sets of 5 here. Notice how I set it up. A lot of you guys ask me how to set up for seal rows. Sometimes you have to be a little bit creative. You can do these on an incline face down. You can do them set up like that, a little bit elevated. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of set up for seal rows if you can. Moving on, you got some dips here. I put these at the end of the week just because right after my super heavy, well, I guess I take that back, not super heavy, but my heavy bench sets on Monday. It's a little bit taxing to do these. I think it's just a little bit rough just because I'm still kind of coming out of the peak phase. And so I'm just letting my body kind of relax a little bit, and saving a little bit of energy by doing these at the end of the week has helped me quite a bit. I have a little bit more energy to put forth into these and really get good range of motion on them. And one other thing to mention on these is you do not have to go parallel or break parallel on these. I know a lot of guys just go super, super deep. Really, you're putting your shoulders and your pecs at risk if you do that. Just because you can do it and you have the mobility to do it doesn't mean you need to do it. Really, it's just a matter of staying tight on them. And you got some neutral grip lat pull downs, 250 pounds here, pretty much the whole stack. And just really getting a good squeeze on that back. So we had a few back exercises that you've seen, obviously, with the rows, the lat pull downs, the crucifix lats pull downs, these, the seal rows, just to name a few exercises. Definitely want to keep the back strong. And to end the day out, we got 12 sets of 6 with 200 pounds on the tricep rope. Really, really good finisher for the week. Oh, sorry, I did have one more thing on this one. Doing some bicep, basically crucifix bicep curls, just to get the biceps just a little bit of work, not too much. Biceps kind of get a lot of work with the rows and things like that, but that's going to basically round it out for this week's weekly recap. But I can't stress it enough. I think the biggest message that I want you guys to follow is that I see a lot of lifters out there, and it's anywhere from the nobodies, if you will, the guys just now getting started that don't have a name in the sport yet, all the way up to the elite level, cream of the crop, sometimes even all-time world record holders. That yes, they do have something to say. They have something obviously that has allowed them to get to that point. But even at that level, a lot of guys don't stick around too long. My theory on it, and I think it's more than just a theory, I think a lot of people would back this up, is the fact that they don't continue to train smartly. Just because you train a certain way for 2 or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years and it gets you to a certain level, that doesn't mean that you can continue to train like that for the next X number of years. As you get older, your body's going to change, your stimulus is going to need to change, your recovery changes, your stress level changes, your environment changes. I mean, there's so many different variables. And if you're just sitting there thinking, okay, I can do the same thing over and over and over again and get the same results, that's fine if you're getting results. But if you stop getting results, you have to be willing to go, okay, let me see what else I can do to change this up. So if you're not getting progress in some form or fashion in your training or another, then you're stalled and you're basically plateaued. So with that said, you have to be willing to look at a lot of different things. And my first thing is always recovery. And that tends to be the issue with a lot of guys, and they don't look at their recovery in a serious way. I know I'm going to basically beat a dead horse here, but if there's one message that I want to make sure that's loud and clear throughout my lifting career, the one secret, if you will, to my success is paying attention to recovery, paying attention to knowing your body, feeling when you feel right, when you don't feel right, knowing when to make a risk, when it's a calculated risk, never to go for some crazy, 50-pound PR when you shouldn't, when you just feel good one day. Save it for the platform. Save it for the day that you're actually going to max out, that you planned on maxing out. Don't just go in the gym one day and say, I feel good, let me go for it. Those are the days that you typically are going to hurt yourself. Now, yes, it is possible to go in and do that and have a great day, come up with a PR. I've done it. I think everybody's done it, but it's a numbers game. You only have so many of those lifts by chance that you're going to make, and someday you're going to go in there, you're going to mess up, and you're going to injure yourself. And it could be career ending. It could be, temporary, but why take that chance if you don't have to? And so that's my mantra. I would rather live to fight another day. So I am glad to back off the weight, back down in all seriousness, and basically take a hit to the ego and back down to weights that are, let's say you're a 315 bencher and you back down to 185 for sets of 10. That's going to be a little bit of a blow to your ego because you want to show off to everybody in the gym that you're capable of doing 315. You want to go in there and constantly hit that weight and show off to everybody. And I get that. I'd be lying if I said I don't get that. But I've also learned to appreciate backing down and rebuilding. And that rebuilding phase puts you so much further than you'll ever imagine. If you've never done it before, you'll just have to take the leap and trust me on this. Rebuilding is going to make that new max that you're working on for the next 6 months or so, not next week, is going to make that so much bigger than what you could ever imagine. So once again, focus on recovery. Don't discount that at all. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 14 years old or if you're 45 years old or 65 years old. Recovery is going to be key to your success, not just your programming. So that would be the takeaway from this video. I think with most of my videos is pay attention to your recovery and make sure you're getting enough. Don't go to the gym 6 days a week, 4 hours a day and expect to do good in your training. You're probably going to do okay for a while. I mean, everybody's got that certain level. And the younger you are, you probably could get away with that. But if you really, really want to make a mark in the world and you really want to be an elite lifter, you want to be something that is a lot different than what you are now, and you want to break some all-time world records or put your name on the board in the gym and be the best of the best, I can guarantee you bro lifting, ego lifting, trying to max out every day, it's not going to get you there. It might get you 1 or 2 lifts. It might get you a couple years into the game. I did it for the first few years and made pretty good progress. And then I stopped making progress and I couldn't figure out why. And so I figured it out. And here I am sharing it with you guys of basically what the secret is. And obviously proper programming, proper diet, nutrition, you want to pay attention to that. You don't have to be the cleanest eater in the world, but you definitely want to pay attention to it. You want to know what's going into your body. Stress levels, balance in your life, that's a whole nother video. But I'm going to go ahead and jump off of that soapbox, but hope you guys take something away from that. I don't want to say I get tired of hearing people tell me what their problems are with their lifting, because I really do appreciate you guys telling me, hey, I'm plateauing here and I need some help. But it's typically the same answer I give to everybody for the most part, unless it needs to be something custom. It's, what are you doing? And it's all typically the same answer. I train way too, well, they don't say they train way too much. They give me the information, then I can basically determine that they're training way too much. They're not getting enough sleep and recovery. They're working 40, 50 hours a week and they're expecting to work out 20 hours a week and sleep 2 hours a week and get results. Something's got to give. You're not going to get the results that you want doing that. And it's frustrating. I get it, but you got to something's got to give. Anyways, definitely drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you have any questions, I'm going to start that back up. I will, I promise. Trying to race to the finish here to get a couple more weeks recapped up for you guys to make sure we're caught up. Things are going to start getting exciting. Obviously, we had 425 on the bar this week. Next week, you can imagine, we'll probably be in the 440 range or so. And then after that, I'm thinking we'll probably start inching up to 500s, 500 range for sets of 8 to 6. And then we'll start really thinking about starting to taper down a little bit. Obviously, meets is not in sight right now, but the whole goal of this cycle is to peak for a 700 plus bench sometime in the somewhat near future. I wouldn't say within the next few months, but definitely probably first of the year, March, April, if I had to guess. but we'll let the training determine where we're at. You know, if everything feels good and this last couple weeks really does serve me better and I feel a lot better going forward, then we can put more weight on the bar and ramp it back up a little quicker. We may not have to go through the full training cycle, but one thing to keep in mind is the longer the training cycle lasts, the longer I think, or the higher the peak will be. So we want to keep that in mind and play it smart. But if you guys don't already follow me on Instagram, I'm over there all the time at SwimHack. So check me out over there. Post my daily kind of my eating, my life, and some other stuff that I don't normally do recaps on YouTube. But if you haven't already subscribed to my channel here on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe. This video, share this with your friends. You know, next week we're going to be up in the ante just a little bit more and continuing to do that going forward. But I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will see you guys next week. See ya.